All right. You are live. Join us as we recap 2024 at Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary. If it's your first time, I'm Karen. This is Johnny and Courtney from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real-Time Animal Rescue. And this will be our second annual year in review. Last year we did this because towards the end of the year we thought, oh, not that much has happened here. It's been kind of a quiet year. And then I went through and double checked all of our social media accounts and everything and came to realize that actually a lot has happened. So we're about to recap 2024. If you have any questions or comments or whatever, feel free to post those. We'll try to answer them in real time. We might be having some visitors, from time to time. A couple friends stopping by today, and we'll have them in for maybe a quick little interview or something. So if you're just tuning in, settle down. It's going to be a little while. And thanks for joining us. I think before we get started, the first thing I was going to ask Johnny maybe to speak a little bit, because this was his first full trip around the sun with Goats with Horns. He's been in front of the sanctuary for several years, but he became a regular volunteer late last year, and see if you wanted to reflect on anything.
Absolutely. It's so it was, I believe somewhere around September of 23. And so I had a short 23, but this last year was the first full year. Every Monday, in the beginning of the year, I think it was a couple of times. Michelle asked me to come in an extra day. So it's the first time I had a full cycle every single week coming in here on a Monday to help at first Michelle. And I learned a lot with Michelle.
Michelle is our fearless leader, the founder and the owner of the sanctuary.
Yeah, so I learned really quick with her, and just to maintain a routine. And I think that I think I mentioned to you guys before that I didn't want to mess up, because constantly in the beginning I was doing little things wrong, and then once I got that figured out, I just held on to that so tight that for a good while there I wasn't bonding with the animals, I noticed. And so I think somewhere towards the middle of last year, I asked for my boss to come in late on Mondays, and she granted that. And so I've been coming in on Monday late and spent a little bit more time with the babies, and then switched over to Teresa, who just recently retired, and she lives in Mesa. So, her and I carpool in, and we,
Teresa's a longtime volunteer. And so since she retired, she's able to pick up a regular day. So they're the Monday morning team, Johnny and Teresa.
Yeah, and she's it gives me a lot of background of goats and just the region, everything, the history around here. And I've been able to take that and learn a lot from that. And hopefully, do it again for 2025. Hopefully we're doing it.
Do another cycle around the sun together, because it's a beautiful thing we've got going here. So anyway, if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen with Johnny and Courtney from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real-Time Animal Rescue. And we're just getting ready to do our year in review, kind of go back and reflect on everything that's happened this year, all the good stuff, the bad stuff, the little stuff, whatever. It's a lot running and volunteering in a sanctuary. Oh, looks like we have a special guest dropping by. Come on, Albert. And you just always in the moment. It's always go, 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 go. And you're always in the moment of whatever's happening. And you don't really get a chance to sit back and say, wow, we did that, or wow, that happened this year. So that's, we did this last year. It was our first one. This will be our second one. And we really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys do too. Like I said, just buckle up. It's going to be a little while that we're going to be sitting here talking, but I'm really glad that we sat down and did this and, kind of reflect on everything that we did this past year. So let's get started. So we'll start with January. January was our first annual year in review live stream. And then shortly after that, we actually did a live stream. And these are all things you can go back and watch. It's on the playlist on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, Real-Time Animal Rescue, REL, and click on playlist, you can find the Goats with Horns playlist, and all of our previous videos are there. So you can watch all these previous live streams if you'd like. Last year in January, we did a live stream on this mural, and I'm going to just kind of move the camera real quick and show you. we've got this beautiful mural on our wall. We wanted to actually broadcast in front of that mural, but the sun would just be blasting in our eyes, and it's just really cold and shady over there. So anyhow, we have a really special friend of the sanctuary named Melody Smith, and she's an amazing, amazing artist. And she had sketched out all of this mural, and they had volunteer parties, and everybody painted it in. So we did a really cute live stream on the mural last January. So, and then apparently Peanut turned 6. Okay. I don't remember the exact date on her birthday.
I'd have to look back through
Okay.
messages from Shannon.
Yeah. So our little friend, oh, okay. So because we didn't post on that, but I realized that we talked about it in the last live stream. So our girl Peanut Buttercup turned 6 years old. She's the mother of Chicolette. She's the daughter of Princess Buttercup. So it's kind of rare to find, generations of goats living together. So it's a really special family that we have here with the Chico's baby mama. Oh yeah. So yeah, Chico's baby mama. Hi mama. So we're trying to get some of the animals to come in here. They're kind of like, why are you guys just sitting there not feeding us? And then one thing that happened in January was, I guess Julio was not feeling well for a period of time. And I couldn't quite remember what exactly happened.
He's actually he was coming up and sniffing behind us. I don't know if you guys can see him, but he had some type of like urinary blockage or something. We noticed some kind of straining to go pee. So he was on a couple of medications for a while. We would stick it into a banana, kind of under the peel, and sneak that over to him. And we were going to maybe have to do some other things if that didn't work, but it worked. It cleared up, and it's been no problem since.
Cool. Yeah. Because it must not have been too dramatic, because I kind of did. Oh, hi. This is Merman. We'll talk about him in a minute. Because I kind of didn't even really remember that, but so luckily that kind of cleared up quickly. Hi. Hi. No. There you go. Close up. So let's go on to February. We started a partnership with .me and Dashes, which is this really neat little company that custom makes Morse code bracelets for rescues and sanctuaries. They do it for, I think you can pretty much order anything you want, but we have our own little page there with them as well. And we have certain little messages, like I love cows, or I love pigs, or vegan for life. Just, as an example, it's a really cute, like black string bracelet with sterling silver little circles or dashes to spell out whatever your message is. So we partnered with them back in February. So a portion of the proceeds go to the Horns Animal Sanctuary. And if that's something you're interested in, there actually is a link to that website in our description box. So go check it out. Those bracelets are actually adorable. Gilbert turned 12 on February 22nd. So Gilbert is probably right now our oldest living resident. Any idea on Princess's age?
Probably around the same. We had thought she was a little younger, but based on the progression of her arthritis, the veterinarian estimated that she might be a little older. So probably around the same as Gilbert.
Okay. So Gilbert is 12, which is pretty up there. And another thing that we did in February, we had a paint night fundraiser, and that was guided by our lovely artist Melody. They did what was it? Flowers?
Like a heart flower.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Heart with like flowers. I didn't really do the paint thing. I kind of just hostess that day. And I think we live streamed that too. So I was probably in charge of the live streaming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was a really fun fundraiser. We tried to do those, a couple times every spring and fall. It's kind of hard because we do them outside, and the summertime is just way too hot to do it. Yeah, dangerously hot. So, and then, in the winter time, it gets dark so early, it's like freezing out. So, we, spring and fall is when we do our fundraiser. All right. So let's move on to March. Turns out March 1st is National Pig Day. Oh. And we celebrated that by honoring our lovely little friends. Where am I going? Trying to show Thomas. Zeus and Julio. Our little buddy Thomas is right here behind us.
Way at the entrance.
Yeah. So anyway, Okay, so March was when we discovered the mass on Kiki's tummy, which unfortunately turned out to be cancer. It was just one of these things where we picked her up, and Kiki was like a really easily picked up chicken. I don't know why, and this thing just like showed up on her stomach. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, her previous owners were here visiting her, and they picked her up and they're like, what is this on her belly? And so, they brought her inside. Michelle gave her a bath. Again, Kiki's a hen. So, and believe it or not, chickens actually really love baths. We put them in the sink with some warm water and Epsom salt. And when she cleaned it up, there was like caked on feathers. And Michelle thought like, oh, maybe some poo or something had caked on. When she pulled all those feathers out, there was like an open wound, like really like almost like necrotic tissue. She had to kind of debride it, and it was crazy. And then try to keep chicken's belly wrapped up and bandaged. It was quite an ordeal.
Little T-shirts that we kind of fashioned for her and stuff. Yeah, that sucked. Kiki's. Yeah, I guess I failed to mention that Kiki was ahead. I think everybody knows who Kiki is because Kiki was one of my little BFFs. And then another notable event in March is our little friend Chicolette turned 2 on March 12th. So we as a group of volunteers have a monthly potluck together. So traditionally we've been holding the March potluck here at Goats with Horns, and we throw a little birthday party for Chicolette. Did you come to that last year? If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have Chicolette. That's right. So we make her a little, we build her a little cake out of watermelon and other veggies, and we call her and her mom and her grandma are allowed to come in the yard, and we sing happy birthday. It's really kind of a fun thing. So that'll be coming up again in a couple months. And then Zeus had something wrong with him, like a limp or something.
Yeah, he was limping pretty bad. There was no open wound, there was no break, anything like that. So it was obviously a soft tissue injury. And we had been giving him like glucosamine cookies for a while. And I think for a little while we were giving him some pain management just to get him over that hump. And we just really tried to focus this year on, we started giving the pigs actual pig feed. Whereas in the past, we'd kind of let them kind of forage, just eat hay and this and that. But we wanted to kind of give them just a little bit of actual pig feed, kind of like a supplement, because it has all the little things fortified for them. And we really worked on getting them healthy at healthy weights, because for pigs, it's so easy for them to, because of how they've been bred, they just put on weight so quickly. Esperanza. And it's hard to keep them at a healthy weight. So we did that this year.
We did. We actually we are giving Julio a tiny bit more than Zeus is getting, because the vet said she doesn't want him to lose any more weight. But they both, actually, I go back and look at old pictures. They used to be fat. They used to be really, really fat. So the vet was really pleased with like where Zeus is at. And she said, so Julio's like perfect. Like, we just don't want him to lose any more weight. So he's on a little tiny bit more feed than Zeus is right now.
And that'll help with joints, just like in any animal or even humans. If you're at a healthier weight, it's going to be a little easier on your joints, and your body's going to feel better. So,
and I think in the last few months, I've been focusing on when we do put out their food that they're separated, and that Julio's or that Zeus isn't jumping in. And now on Mondays we have also Chicolette out here, so it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I'm now mitigating between him and Zeus and
the other animals know, and it's unfortunate. There's really not a lot we can do. Like, we have everybody in stalls, and there's only so many places where we can feed the pigs at. So it's a little nuance. It's just got to make sure everybody's staring at the hay, and you got to sneak over in the corner, and then you have to kind of watch the 2 pigs and make sure Zeus doesn't steal Julio's food. But we're doing the best we can, and that's all we can do. So this was actually kind of a funny but not funny event, and I missed it. You guys were here, but apparently Macchiato got himself stuck up on the top of the metal man cave.
Okay, yeah. So I was in the metal man cave, which if you're new here, that's just what we call like the big garage over here. And I heard some like scurrying up on the roof, but that's not really a big deal because there's often birds in there. We even have
even the branches from the trees
blowing. We've even had little starlings build like a nest in some of the eaves. So we're used to that. But I was like, there's like a lot of scurrying. Gosh, I tried to look. I didn't see anything. Okay, there must be a bunch of birds up there. A little while later, Elizabeth, one of our volunteers, comes running. Macchiato's on the roof. I guess when she got here, here. She doesn't get here quite so early. When she arrived, he was meowing. She's like, "Where is all that meowing from?" She looks up and he's on the roof. So he figured out how to get up by climbing a tree, but then he couldn't figure out how to get back down.
Did we mention that Macchiato's a cat? We don't really, we just assume you guys know who everybody is. If you're not a regular follower, we'll try to be better about talking about who is. Macchiato is actually like a pet cat that lives in the house with Michelle. He's not like, we have ferals here and everything. Macchiato is like an animal companion cat, and he got himself in a little pickle that morning.
So luckily, he had been wearing a harness because we hadn't gotten the bird deterrent collars yet. He's an avid birder. He tries to hunt birds, and we don't want him to do that. So now we have special collars for them that are supposed to be really visible for birds so they can, avoid him and Frodo. But at that time, we were just putting a harness on him to slightly hinder his movements so that he wouldn't maybe be able to leap after them or, something like that. So we had the ladder leaning up there, which was very rickety. So we had all these people holding onto the ladder and getting ready. And the ladder didn't quite reach quite high enough. So Michelle had to really kind of teeter and be like really leaning. It was kind of dangerous. And at first I was trying to record everything. And then once it was really going down, I was like, I have to put my phone
really
down.
hairy.
If he was to fall, if something bad was to happen and I'm just sitting here holding my phone,
Yeah.
I would not forgive myself. So I was like, okay, we're all ready. Like, is he going to fall? Michelle was able to just barely grab his harness. And like I said, she was leaning out so far. So it's not like she could just like grab him and hold him. So then she had to like drop him. I believe it was Elizabeth like caught him gently. And it was just like a whole, like a big relief. And I think now somebody's actually put like a little wooden plank board going across, connecting the tree. So that way, if that does happen again, and if he goes out on a branch, at least he has that little like, oh wait, there's this little plank. I can kind of get back down myself.
That was what was not funny about that situation. That was the same day that we were holding a bingo fundraiser.
Oh.
So usually, we try to come early and get get cleaned up and get the place set up and everything. And just to have that little added drama was not necessary. Yeah. But we had a bingo fundraiser back in March, and that was the first of our 2 that we do every year. And that's just a super fun event. We charge a little, $10 at the door,
20,
and depending, and you get, if you want to purchase extra bingo cards, you can pay another, couple dollars for that. And we have raffles, and we have a big prize table. So if you win bingo, you can pick up a prize off the prize table. We'll have sometimes vendors, we have a really nice lady that lives in town that makes jewelry for rescues and sanctuaries. So she'll come by and sell her stuff. What is it called? It's wabi.sabi. Is that wabi.sabi? wabi.sabi on Instagram. She makes some really, really, really cute jewelry. I have actually several Bears bearings from her, and she donates to the sanctuaries that she, makes jewelry for. So anyway, Giuseppe apparently celebrated his 4-year rescue anniversary.
Okay.
Yeah, which is funny because, Giuseppe must have just come right before I came here because I've been here for a little over 4 years. So Giuseppe is one of our resident roosters. We have 2 currently. And we'll talk about Giuseppe in a little bit because later in the year he had some interesting stuff going on. Giuseppe is one of our roosters, and he celebrated 4 years here. I don't know how old he was when he came here. Any idea?
Yeah, so he and his brother were rescued as chicks. They were in a local nursery, and somebody wanted them gone. I believe they were also at Whitville. So Mark, who's Michelle's best friend, came and brought them here, and Michelle and I and everybody else were like, okay, like these cute little chicks, they're adorable, we're holding them and everything. And we were convinced they were girls. So we, named them. Giuseppe, we allowed that name to stay. His brother, we actually wound up changing the name because it was way too girly.
His brother?
Julian.
Oh, Julian.
He, unfortunately, we believe that Giuseppe actually his brother.
Oh.
But it was anyway, so they were like these little chicks and we were in denial. We're like, oh, they're girls. They started to kind of grow these tail feathers. We're like, oh no, they're just beautiful girls. It's okay, because we have to be so careful about having roosters at the sanctuary because we've had some that are a little ultra protective, and that can be really dangerous. So we were, like I said, we were just in denial, and I still remember it was like myself and Geraldine, we were walking out here and Giuseppe hopped up into one of the troughs and just let out this big cock-a-doodle-doo. And we're like, no, we can't deny it anymore. They're definitely two boys. So at that point, we had like other rooster that had like locked up. I think we had like Fabio or,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we had a lot of roosters and they didn't all get along. So we were like,
Yeah. Jeez. Anyway,
welcome Mark, to the year's
this
review.
is my co-volunteer. We do Thursdays together. Also, my husband, Mark, dropping by. So we'll take a quick little pause here and, we're on March. We're going through the year. Is there any notable events or anything that happened?
Yeah, I have a special treat. We have a Christmas tree to give.
Oh, we'll do that at the end of the broadcast then. So if you want to
That's
stick
why-
around.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're done, we're gonna feed the animals. So yeah, you'll have to let the three out, and then we'll throw a Christmas tree for the animals to eat, which is actually a very fun thing to watch. So we'll take the camera around, we'll let you guys see that. Okay, so we'll continue on with March then. Okay, so Gibby was at the time our oldest resident goat, and he was one of the two original goats that even started the whole sanctuary. He and his sister had passed away a couple of years previous. So Gibby, we knew like Gibby was getting up there. Then back in March, he went on stall rest because he was falling. Remember, he was falling. He was having difficulty with his balance and he was
That's right.
falling.
He would get barely bumped by another animal and he would go down and not be able to get back up, which is obviously very dangerous because the other animals, especially the cows, could potentially like trample him, not being mean, but just, they're wild. And he was already pretty skinny. Like he had been underweight for a long time, through no fault of ours, just one of those things. And he was kind of like wasting away and like his muscle tone wasn't good. Like Karen said, his balance wasn't good. So we put him in a stall. We're like, if somebody barely bumps into him and he falls down, what if Michelle's not home? What if, like I said, a cow steps on him or Zeus bites him, because Zeus is like our grumpy old man.
He went on stall rest, but he did make it out of the stall for a period of time. But there was a period, and like I said, we're not in denial or anything. We knew that his time was coming, but if you go back and watch our year in review from last year, Gibby kind of stole the show for like that first half of the broadcast. He was a big goat. He was a La Mancha breed. He was a big boy, and Gibby was almost like a human being in goat form. Oh, we have another visitor.
This is the fearless leader.
So
Michelle.
this is Michelle, who is never ever on camera. But this is Michelle, the founder, owner, and ringleader of this whole
show.
you know what show.
Well,
Anyway,
I do.
is there any notable things that happened this past year that you want to reflect on real quick while you're here?
There's been so much. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Like every time you do this, I'm like, that happened. Yeah.
Yes,
that
a lot
yeah,
happened.
That happened.
Yeah, so that we were just talking about Gibby, how he had to go on stall rest because he kept falling, and then he came out from stall rest. But then, and that was in March. So let's move on to April. So in April, so what I was saying, we were talking about Gibby, like his personality. He was like a human, like in goat form, but he was just the sweetest critter that like ever lived. He loved to come up and his sister did too. They loved to rub their horns all over you. And he was just so kind and sweet. He was just like an amazing creature. So to see him, failing was tough. So in April, we talked a little bit earlier about Kiki, the hen, finding a mass on her, belly. So in March, I guess I kind of skipped over the fact that she went to hospice care and that we were suspected the mass was cancer. So on April 3rd, she passed away. There was actually an appointment scheduled to help her pass, but she passed away the night before on her own terms. So that was kind of a bummer because Kiki was a really sweet hen. She liked to be picked up and held. She was like super, super friendly. She was just the cutest thing ever. She had the funniest little voice.
Her walk was like very deep.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you could hear her, you knew it was her.
Yeah.
She was a special She was a special girl.
Unfortunately, she also our time with her was short, but she lived a long life with her previous
9
family.
years, I think.
I was
with her
very
previous
loved
family.
and cared for.
And they just
you know.
rehomed her because, all of they were down to the one hen and they just didn't want to get any more. And they just wanted her to, not be alone. She was actually a pretty social little chicken. So she came here and lived out her time with us. And so we were fortunate to have her in our life when we did. So it looks like April, really all that happened in April was death. Gibby passed away. We determined that it was time. And the vet came and he was helped over the Rainbow Bridge on April 19th.
So when he died, Courtney was here, right? Were you here?
There was a lot of people here.
There was a lot of
I
people
wasn't
here.
here.
But the funniest thing was we had all that celery growing out there and all the kale and chard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we let him just eat at it, and we kept telling him, "No, Gibby, no, you're a bad goat." And he was so freaking joyful that he got to do what he was never allowed to do.
Yeah, it's like we wanted him to eat and enjoy like a last
Yeah.
meal, and he was dying and he didn't have much of an appetite. But like Michelle said, we would pretend, "Oh no, don't eat that." We try to block him, and then he'd be like, "Oh, I'm going to eat that now."
Yeah,
He did look kind of proud of himself in the photos.
like,
he
was,
that
he
whole
was
garden.
super
He's
proud.
like, I'm
let him
eating
eat
the whole
everything.
yard and I'm
Exactly.
not supposed to. Yeah,
That's
he was.
exactly what he was.
I was
doing.
here the night before. Like I said, I think that was the time that we determined that it was not kind to keep him around any longer. So I made him my last salad. We used to make him a salad because we had to bathe him on a daily basis, and there's live streams about that. So I made him my last salad and went and sat with him and let him eat it and said my goodbyes. As I wasn't here to be able to be here the next day. But yeah, that really was tough losing Gibby, especially like I think for you because he started the sanctuary with you.
Him and
Yep,
Gabby.
him and Gabby. So once
Very,
they
very
moved on,
close.
it was tough. So, but you just keep moving on. So May, this is the first thing I wrote down was Julio was going at Nala. She busted his lip. So this was actually another funny, not funny. I came in here one morning and I don't know what Julio is our little black potbelly pig. Where is he at? He's over there in the sun. He's a little skittish of us humans. He's gotten better with us over the years because we're giving him glucosamine cookies and stuff. But anyway, I come in the yard here, and the first thing I have to do is like put the cows in stalls and everybody kind of situated. And I don't know what he was thinking. We've got Nala the cow, and she's actually got big horns, and he's charging at her, and she's like nudging him, and he's charging at her, and I'm like, Julio, what are you thinking? You're just like this little pig and this giant cow. And then at one point, she just literally like tossed him. She just went, God, and tossed him, and I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Okay, and he took off, and I'm like, okay, it seems fine. Well, 10 minutes later, I turn around, his lip is like bleeding. And I'm thinking, how am I going to get him in a stall to get him checked out? So I just kept my eye on him, and it kind of just, stopped bleeding. Hi, Norma. So it ended up being that he was fine. But I came in here and I was just thinking, like, what are you doing? And I don't know what that was all about. Anyway.
Every once in a while, he gets spicy. He has to take a leg.
Yes. Yes.
But that's not such a big deal. But
Yes.
with Nala, it was like, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Is she going to gore him? Like, accidentally, not
Yes.
that she's mean, but she has, like Karen mentioned, huge horns. He's just like this little docile, normally
Just tossed him in the
docile
air.
little potbelly
We kept
pig.
going back for more. Anyway, that all turned out fine, thank goodness. On May 25th, we had a movie night fundraiser. Oh, that was fun. What did we show? Do you remember?
We did the
Do you remember what we watched?
oh my gosh, it was Willy Wonka.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had a little projector set up and a screen set up in the backyard and did like popcorn and everything. So that was really fun. Like I said, the outdoor fundraisers are really fun, but we're kind of limited to spring and fall. So then Stanley. So Stan is a rooster. Giuseppe is a rooster. Stan has been staying in a coop, by himself for a long time because he's not nice. But last summer we had a lot of issues with his feathers falling out and all this other stuff. So this year we decided to swap him. So like we were letting him out and giving Giuseppe time in the coop. And then now pan ahead months later, they're both coexisting in the yard and everybody's out free ranging again, which is fantastic.
You're doing fine, except for Stan still attacks some of the
Well, yeah,
volunteers.
Stan's not nice to people, but him and Giuseppe are getting along, so that's all that matters. Johnny walked right past him today with no
Three
incident.
times.
Really?
3 times.
I'm proud of you.
Yep.
In fairness, I did have 2 crates in my.
Oh, this is, maybe you can tell the story. Pearl the piglet we fostered for
Oh
Ironwood.
my God. Yes. So Mark, my ex-husband, works at Whitfield Nursery, and he called me one day and he's like, there's a little piglet running around the neighborhood. Can you and Nicholas go get it? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to go get this little piglet. So next thing I know, he calls me. He's like, we got the piglet. We got it here. We're gonna try to find it a home. So I jump in because I'm like concerned, like, what kind of home are you going to find this guy? And finally, the next day they call me and they're like, okay, look, this crate is too small. It's hot because it was May, right?
Yep.
And she was not doing well. So I'm like, fine, we can take her for a couple of days onto the property, but I need to know where you're taking her because I don't want to keep a hog because if you don't know anything about hogs, they can weigh up to like 3,000 pounds. They can be aggressive and I didn't want her, if she had to stay, she would, but I'd have to readjust everybody again.
We would have to readjust. There'd have to be a separate
Yeah.
pen built for her because there's no way. I don't think that it would
She
work.
was this tiny little thing that
She
was
was
probably
tiny,
like
Like
40.
this big.
Yeah.
Not this big.
Yeah,
this
not that big.
Not this big.
Yeah, she was tiny.
Cute,
and the
cute,
cutest
cute.
little thing
Oh my
ever.
goodness.
And the cows were obsessed with her. And
Yep.
finally, it turned out I knew that she was going to Ironwood Sanctuary, which is in Marana in Arizona, and they're a fantastic pig sanctuary. So I was thrilled that she's got there.
So
And
she's down there. She's probably huge now. We probably won't even recognize her. We keep saying we're going to go down there and visit her, but we probably won't even recognize her if we saw her. But she was kind of fun to have around for a few days, but we just knew we couldn't keep her
cows
here.
loved her.
Yeah, she was so cute.
They were obsessed with her.
And then does anybody know, was May when we had Cluckingham, we call it Cluckingham Palace. Was May when we had that built?
I'm pretty sure it was
Yeah.
because I was determining that June would be really hot.
Yeah, we had, last summer, if you go back and watch our live streams and not like 2023 and 2024, the 2 summers have been just really hot. And unfortunately we lose chickens because they just don't tolerate the heat well. So we did some massive fundraising and built for the chickens an enclosed air-conditioned insulated coop. And we literally put them in that coop during the day with the air conditioning, and at night, Michelle would let them out to forage and peck around and do chicken stuff. They would roost themselves in their regular coops for overnight, and in the morning we would transfer them back to Cluckingham Palace. And we did that for, 4 months, May, June, July, August, September, even maybe 5 months. But guess what? We didn't lose any chickens.
We
to
lost
the
chickens,
heat.
but
We
not to
did,
the heat.
yeah, and that was until
We
like
lost them.
way later in the season.
We lost them to diseases.
So, yeah, so it was a little extra work for us, but it was better than 2023 because 2023, we had to be out here rotating ice packs. You did mostly all day long, every day. We just put them in the air conditioned coop, and they stayed there all day. And then it was so much easier on us, and it was easier on the chickens. It was easier on Michelle. So that was a really beautiful thing. And we dubbed it Cluckingham Palace. We have a little sign on there and everything. So does anybody remember when we got the misting system installed?
I don't know the exact dates, but
Was
I'm
that
pretty sure it
June-ish?
was July.
June, July-ish? Okay.
June, July. And that was installed because we got a grant from Richard and Marianne Graham Foundation.
Okay. Yeah,
So we
big
were
grant.
able to.
And we installed, somebody's here
Okay.
because the animals, as soon as they know somebody's here, they'll go, you can probably hear all their bells. They're all running towards the front fence because that's how you know somebody's here. Nobody can sneak up on us on this property.
And I have a Christmas tree we could throw in at the end.
Yep, we're gonna do that.
Oh, and correction, it's not just putting them into the Buckingham Palace. You have to individually put each bird in Buckingham Palace, and so that's a lot more difficult.
It
than
is.
Seems,
It is.
and it's the first time I ever had.
Once you're done, you're done.
Mr.
Oh,
Giuseppe. There's no manual or handbook here that teaches you how to do that. And Michelle, I asked her like softly, and she said, "I'm busy, figure it out," kind of thing, or something like that, and I'm like,
full of hard
"Oh,
knocks, okay?
yeah." I was just dripping sweat when I got him finally, and yeah, it was a little scary.
Okay, that was a fun perspective from your point of
It
view.
really was a workout, even though known for being like an early bird. Like in the summertime, I don't handle the heat well, and I'm an early bird as it is, so it's no problem. I get started at 5:15 in the morning. Even then, I'd be like, the sun's barely up, and I'm dripping in sweat, just trying to go in this little coop, trying to catch
14 chickens,
14
one at a time.
and grab them, and then they're running this way, and then Giuseppe occasionally might try to like jump at you or something, and it's like, oh my gosh, and then you have to pick them up, close that door behind you quickly so no chickens escape, run over to the other coop, open that door, get them in without any other chickens running out.
Hey, we have another guest.
Yes.
This is gonna be the longest live stream in history.
So two door
But this
opens,
has
two
been-
closes.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's up? How are you?
Yep. But it was still better than having to rotate ice packs and whatnot all day long every day. I'll give it that. So we have another guest here. This is Talia, one of our regular volunteers. So we were talking about like if it's, if we have any guests drop by, we want to just ask them, hey, what was a notable thing that happened this past year that you'd like to reflect on?
I mean, I'm always about the Roosters.
So yeah, we were kind of
So-
just talking about how we started. We're on
We got a guest pee.
Yeah, sorry, everybody.
we gotta who's eating my hair? Ow! They're not used to my hair being down. We were just talking about we were talking about how we swapped we talked about like how we swapped out Stan and Giuseppe. We
I mean,
haven't-
just I think it's such a huge deal that they're coexisting
yeah. Yep,
together
that's-
and they both are getting outside time.
Yep,
just
that
because
was months in
just
the making.
so helpful for both of their health because last year Stan took a nosedive and then this year Seppi took a nosedive with his bumble.
Yep.
Not as bad as Stan, but the fact that they're just being able to coexist and swap out and get along with all the ladies, I
Yep.
think is just a huge win.
Yep, that's what I said. I was like, all of that, but now they live together in the yard peacefully. And that was a big plus. That was a big win for us this year. Oh yeah, so we're talking about the misters. So we had a misting system installed. So like from where we're sitting, like right here, there's a whole covered area with all the stalls and everything. So we have misters and fans. So for the animals don't really seem like they have some moments where they like it, but it's kind of more for us because when we're working out here in the summer, like it's like deadly heat sometimes. So that was a really, really nice thing. We got a big fat grant this year, and that's where we put the money towards building the Mr. fan system. Do you mind, Merman? So anyway, like, we thought we should just keep on. So we're on June now. So if you're just tuning in, we're all from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary. Karen, Courtney, Johnny, Talia, and Merman. On Real Time Animal Rescue, and we're just kind of doing our 2024 year in review. Because like I said earlier in the broadcast, it's always fun to just kind of reflect on everything we do as a team and everything that we do for these animals. Oh, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah, he's good. So let's get to June. So June, we kind of was like when our butterfly season went into like full effect. So Goats with Horns is also considered a monarch way station, a migration way station. So when the butterflies are migrating from south of us through North America, we have specific butterfly caterpillar friendly plants planted, and then they come here, they lay their eggs, the caterpillars decimate these vines, and then they turn into butterflies and off they go. So June is like peak butterfly season. Like sometimes when we're walking up the chicken run area, it's like literally like a magical fairyland of just butterflies flying everywhere. And it's literally like that. Like I think they planted the plants like back in March or something. And we watched the vines grow, and then then it's just like, it's like gone. But it is kind of really neat. We have a couple of weeks where it's like really like a little butterfly fairyland here. So that was cool. Another very notable thing that happened in June is come here.
Now he doesn't want to.
We took in Merman. This is Merman and his little brother Frankie. Well, they're twin brothers, but Frankie's a little smaller than him. So these are our newest additions after the loss of Gibby and Snowy and Gabby, our big goats. We decided that we had room to take in a couple more. I just recently did a live stream spotlight on just those two. So if you want to go back and watch that, they were rehomed, from a sanctuary that unfortunately had to dissolve. So they're probably almost 4-ish, 5-ish years old, twin brothers. And they're absolute sweethearts. There was a little pecking order, and we'll talk on that later, issues, but right now everything is pretty cool and they're absolute dolls. We love them. So then we're already experiencing, by June, already experiencing record heats, 113 degrees in June, which is high. So just keep in mind, everything we talk about for the next few months was done in brutal, disgusting record heat. We live in the Sonoran Desert and our summers are hot here, and the last 2 summers have been exceptionally so. So anyway, Albert was sick. He was throwing up the grass, which made me a little nervous because Snowy had something. Albert is one of our sheep. He's the big gray one, out in the background there. So then we had the vet out. We had our, take a look at him. She noticed that he had a tooth, like a big tooth that was like sharp and needed to be filed down. And I think we had like a fecal test done. And I don't know if there was ever a result from that. I don't think that anything came out of that. And yeah, but so we don't know if the tooth was hurting him and he wasn't able to chew or digest properly. I don't know, but we put him on you get some probiotic paste and stuff now. And so he's been fine. Apparently Zeus and Julio had a little scuffle and Zeus had a boo-boo. Does anybody remember that?
I think it was, we're having to put the silver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where was
Yes.
that? Was that?
I think so.
I think it was his ear.
Yeah. But that wasn't anything major, but we were like,
weren't sure if he just scratched it on like one of the metal posts or something like that. Like was an actual scuffle.
oh, okay. Well, it was something I wrote down, but it might not have been
You're
anything.
probably more
Sometimes, well, no, sometimes maybe I'm wrong and that would be great because we don't want the kids fighting. Oh,
Yeah.
One of the wild birds just crashed into something over there. Oh, and then you guys, I think we're here for this. Princess Buttercup swallowed something she shouldn't have and was choking and having trouble breathing.
You know, like those
Courtney.
little,
Yeah.
were you here that day too?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you know those little tags to identify plants, like if you plant a garden, you put like a little tag in the soil, it says, peas or, whatever. So somehow some pretty big like plastic plant identifier had flown over into the field, the pasture out here. And Princess just walked up and ate it before Maddie and was there somebody else? I think a couple people, I think it was Maddie and Elizabeth. They were trying to stop her and get it out, but they couldn't. And like I said, it was a pretty big chunk it was very thin plastic, but it was kind of maybe stuck for a little bit.
Was it
didn't go
after
down.
one of the storms, one of the monsoons?
I think maybe that's how it had blown
Yeah.
in. And yeah, so then we had to bring her inside because it sounded like it was maybe partially obstructing her breathing. So we had to monitor her. And Maddie is one of our regular volunteers. She's in middle school. She's great. She's the best. And so she stayed inside with Michelle to monitor Princess and they were just kind of massaging her throat and trying to offered her like a little bit of, food and water to see if they can kind of push it down. And they basically, what we had to do is kind of monitor her for a few days to make sure that she would go to the bathroom so that plastic was getting digested and not causing some sort of a blockage.
Oh, so she actually ate it.
Oh yeah, yeah, she ate that plastic.
That's crazy. Kind of reminds me of one time with Gibby a couple of years ago. We used to have to give Gibby the goat a bath on a regular basis, and so I had he would wear a collar, but he wore it loose, so I would strap him to a fence, and I had my plastic gloves. I had all my gear tucked into the fence there, so I had my plastic gloves and everything I was going to use. And my husband was standing there on the other side of the fence with Gibby's salad ready to hand it to me. And I turned away for 1 minute. And my husband goes, no. And I'm like, what's happening? And I realized Gibby had snagged one of those plastic gloves and it was already and I had to pry his mouth open and reach in there and pull it out. And if my husband wasn't standing there and saw that happen, he would have ingested that plastic glove. And I said, everybody's going to be so mad if if Gibby dies because I fed him a plastic glove. But I had to pry his mouth open, and their back teeth are super sharp. You're like little razors, and I had to reach in there and pull it, and I was able to get it out. So
I don't ever hear about
oh my God, Mark is no, and I'm like, what? And he's and I was like, Gibby. And I had to pry his mouth open and rip it out of his throat. So that was, okay, all the excitement we had in June. So
Halfway
Princess Buttercup ended up being fine in the end. But they eat everything. They literally eat everything. So if I see little like things around here that I don't want them to ingest, I pick it up and throw it away. I think sometimes the wild birds actually leave like little gifts. I have found a seashell in Rapunzel's water before. I find little like, I found like a piece of like a zip tie. We don't really use zip ties here. I found a piece of a zip tie. So I think they bring us little gifts because they drink out of our water bowls here and stuff.
Oh yeah, I've done
Weird
bones.
things. Yeah, bones,
They,
like
picked out
pecan
of that.
shells.
I've never even noticed or
Really?
paid attention to that.
It's
No, I
usually
won't.
Rapunzel's
So
bowl. We
interesting.
find weird little gifts in there.
And in the summer when we have water bowls out there, that's right.
Makes total sense.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I literally found a seashell in Rapunzel's bowl. And I found, well, the other day, you know what I found the other day? I found like a
In the
turquoise.
desert's pretty rad, right? Finding a seashell.
Exactly. And you know what I found the other day? And there was like, you know, those little like covers for earbuds, like so you can adjust the size. I found one of those in there. It was like turquoise. Yeah. Yeah, weird. All right, so we should probably get on with it. July. So July was, we must have put the Misters in very end of June or beginning of July because Norma decided to come out and give herself a little booty scratch on the brand new outlet with the brand new Mr. fan and broke that like
It was
within
just
one
within a
day,
couple
like one day, yeah, of having it. Hey, if you guys are just tuning in and you have any questions or comments, feel free to, say something and we'll try to answer or comment back in real time. Pepper, one of our resident roosters, started to slow down. I think we started to notice. Pepper was actually 2 summers ago, maybe 3 summers ago. I literally did not think he was going to make it through that summer.
He's had a couple.
He's had a rough, yeah, but he always rallies. He was up there. He was 10, I think. So he started to slow down and we started to know that Pepper is probably, not going to be with us too much longer in July. And you know what? Here's my little note. I put fruit popsicles.
Oh.
I stole this idea from another sanctuary. I saw they took like a solo cup and filled it with fruit and water and put like, we have baling twine, like up the yin yang here, because the hay, the hay bale, the twine that they use to bale the hay is pretty sturdy stuff. So what these guys did was they put the twine in the solo cup with the water and the thing and froze it. So when you pull it out, you had like a string, you could tie the strings to the fences or whatever. So we were going through those things like crazy and the animals loved them. They loved them. Oh, okay. So then thing 2, one of our other hens, we discovered that lump on her tummy.
And we thought it was ascites. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we tried to drain it.
Yeah, and then
That-
the vet that came said she has cancer and she probably only has 6 weeks to live. Well, she's doing fine.
Yeah, I guess we gave her a bunch of Epsom salt baths and we had her in the house for a little bit and treating her because I think she had some antibiotics because there was a lot of stuff that could have been going on. The vet saw some stuff in her blood that said, it could be like maybe there's some kind of infection or whatever. So we tried draining it. We gave her a round of antibiotics. We gave her a bunch of Epsom salt baths. And then when the round of antibiotics was done, we just kind of brought her back out into the chicken yard and she's still here. So
And she's a mature hen too. Like they're not
yeah,
young hens.
they're up there. Yeah, her and her sister both, thing 1 and thing 2. And then unfortunately, July 31st, Pepper passed away after 10 years. Pepper the rooster. So that was sad. It was sad, but was not super unexpected.
He was married to Thelma, one of our hens. We had a wedding for them in previous year. So their name meld was #Pepper for Thelma and Pepper. And so we were pretty worried about Thelma because that's who she was bonded to. But luckily, she did also bond with Pie, the other or one of our other little hens. So they became besties. So she wasn't alone.
Pie.
Did Pepper come already narcoleptic, or is that something that he would do at the end? Or he'd fall asleep in your, he would fall
I
asleep
don't
in
know
your
if
arms
that was-
just going to Cluckingham
I don't even know if it was like a fall asleep or just kind of like a pretending this isn't happening thing, but Whenever we had to transfer Pepper from place to place, he
He
would
was
just go,
special.
we would, I mean, it's not
Right.
funny, but I'd be like, Pepper died, because my husband would be holding him, and he'd be like,
Yeah. I got sent a video of saying, don't die, don't die. That's out.
no, I think it was just maybe like a stress,
Yeah,
like
he was just a really funny, like, rooster. You know, when we'd
Morning.
have to catch him to put him to bed, he would run, and he thought that if he hid his head, we couldn't see him. And so he literally would be like wide open in the pasture with his head in a bush. Like,
that's so true.
Then we could
That's
just,
so
we'd be
true.
like, oh no,
Oh, yeah.
where's
I
Pepper?
know.
I still remember the first time I saw him do that. I was all nervous because Michelle was gone and I had to round him up and he was like just running around back and forth. I'm like, how am I going to catch him? Like, oh my gosh, it was so hot and I'm like stressing out. And then he just pokes his head in a bush and I'm like, really? I go over, I'm like, all like, is he going to jump out? And I just
No.
pick him up. I'm like, okay.
He
Just
did that.
carried him
He
in.
went in the man
It's like
cave
this-
and he would just stick his head
Yeah,
in
in a
fun,
ball.
right? And there's a full body, but as long as his head was hiding, Pepper was invisible in his mind. Yeah.
It's like the scene from Bridesmaids where she has the sunglasses on the airplane and she's like, it's not me. Like,
I think
that's
maybe,
how
I just wonder if that like thing was just kind of like a little like stress defense or
I mean, it
something.
was
Like
only
we
what-
weren't stressing
Sure.
him out. We have
Well-
another visitor. Are you coming on
Come on.
camera? Or
Yeah,
yes or
right
no?
here.
Okay. Huh? Okay.
That's just a rooster thing too. I mean, if you hold a rooster like a baby, it pushes them from sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, into parasympathetic nervous system,
Yeah.
which calms it down. So even when we were treating Stanley for his bumble, when I would hold him like a baby, he would start to doze off.
Yeah.
And
Well-
so if you ever need to handle a rooster, if you can get them into a cradle baby position, they pretty much like surrender.
Well, I would pull Pepper out and I, like football status,
Yeah,
right on his little breath, and then just the walk
Yeah.
from the non-air conditioned coop to Buckingham Palace was what, like 15 seconds, 20 seconds. So that walk alone, he'd be like,
Yeah.
out.
Doesn't take
I
much
just,
for him.
like I said, I just wonder if it was kind of like a stress mechanism, like him, like, this isn't happening. Because he wasn't
I'm dead.
unfriendly, but he wasn't easy to catch. But we
No.
didn't really like catch him or hold him unless it was necessary either. We weren't like in the business of like, irritating him for no reason. He was fun. Pepper was fun. So let's move on to August. So I think Michelle was out of town a little bit in August, and remember like all the metal man cave cats. We have feral cats that live. We have feral cats all over the property. There's kind of like a few different little colonies, I guess. And there's 3 that live in the metal man cave, and they just kind of just went missing. Well, the orange one, Houdini, went missing, and we thought he was gone. And then it was like Bunny was missing, and then I was like, okay. And even though we have another visitor, and then even like the black one was missing, and we couldn't figure out what was going on. But I think what we discovered was Macchiato. If you backtrack a little bit, the resident pet cat was getting in the man cave and kind of terrorizing everyone, because that's what he does. So we have another visitor here. This is Melissa, longtime volunteer with Goats with Horns. She's also the bingo fundraiser organizer and just a really good friend of the sanctuary and all of us. So we're just asking people that are dropping by, if there was maybe like a notable event that happened this past year that you kind of want to reflect on.
Probably just coming back, like moving back to Arizona. We moved back, my kids and I moved back in January.
Oh, yeah.
So it was almost a full year that we've been back.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it's good to have you guys back. Okay, so thing 2. Okay, so we already kind of covered this. Thing 2 was diagnosed or believed to have ovarian cancer. We discovered her mass the previous month. She's still here. Butters. So Butters was kind of acting weird. Butters is one of our pygmy goats. And he was acting a little off. Now, keep in mind, I mentioned this earlier, like our summer this year was like brutal. It was just horrible. So I think, he was getting a little extra supplemental feed and extra electrolytes and all that stuff. But, after a while, I started to think, I think the heat was just really like kind of starting to take a toll on the animals themselves. I don't know if a lot of them were looking thin. I don't know if they really feel like eating or really anything. It was just so hot. Anyway, so that was, he ended up being fine, and he's fine now. I feel like he was looking a little thin a few weeks ago, and we sneak him a little bit of extra food, but I don't know. After I so dramatically said Butters was looking thin, he seems like he looks okay. I don't know if he was just sucking it in because he wanted extra treats or what. Because he looks pretty good now. So, you know, because Butters is like my special boy. Just want to make sure nobody heard that. So yeah, man, let's skip on this. Hi, Susie, come on. Come on, Susie. Come visit.
Everyone's number one special boy.
Come on,
He's
Susie.
got his mohawk.
So let's
looking.
move on to September. Okay, so we're still kind of September. You know, notable things that happened was everybody was looking thin. We were giving special bowls to 8 of the animals. I think that the vet had come for another visit. I think she came for her, you know, biannual hoof trims and tusk trims and all that stuff. And she kind of looks everybody over. And I don't know, maybe that wasn't it, but we were just kind of giving special bowls to like 8 different animals, which is hilarious if you see how we section everybody out for feeding and then trying to bring like 6 new bowls of food in to animals that are in with it. It was kind of a cluster. So I was sneaking Butters and Gilbert out into the chicken side to give them their bowls real quick. But that kind of became a disaster because they were just really kind of
kept just trying to
sneaking
make a
out
run
on
for
everybody
it.
else. Like whatever I do, I'm like, I can control them, but they would just hightail it right on out of there every time that gate opened. So we kind of had to quit doing that. So yeah, like I said, we don't know like if it was the heat, because now we're in September and the animals are still looking thin, but it's still record setting temperatures. Like I guess on the 28th of September, it was like 114 degrees. Like that is just way too hot for that time of year. So I think the animals were just over it, you know.
Takes a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, even like people that live here, people naturally just don't eat as much. It's
Yep.
just that the heat really suppresses your
Yep.
appetite.
Yeah. So everybody's looking good now. A sad thing that happened in September is Pepper's wife, Thelma, passed away on September 27th. So, I was really sad to see both of them go. Thelma came with a lot of issues though, with her legs and everything.
So now she's reunited with her
Yeah,
husband.
they're in chicken heaven together. Yeah, that was kind of like another end of an era, like losing Gibby and then losing Thelma and Pepper. Kiki, that was, yeah. Just don't realize how many you lose, like how many friends you lose.
Especially with the chickens, the hens, they're just like so sensitive. They're not native to here, and it's just the heat. Takes everything to keep them alive.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're so thankful for Clucky.
I know.
So anyway, on to October. Rapunzel ate something green. So like the running joke around here is Rapunzel, she's a Nubian, correct? Nubian goat. She's a little bit of a freshy fresh, and Rapunzel stays in her own stall during feeding times. So when I have to go, there's a duck stall right next door to her. So when I have to go in there to feed the ducks, I have duck pellets, or it's chicken pellets and mixed with a little bit of duck pellets. And then I also have some greens, leafy greens for the ducks. And every time it's my little special thing is I give her a little handful of the duck food over the thing, and I'll offer her some of the greens, and she'll literally like spit it out. Like I could hide a piece of spinach like under a pile of duck food, and she'll get that, and she'll spit out the spinach. And I don't know, it was some different type of leafy green in there, and I offered it to her, and she just munched it on down. And I said, "What?" So it's collard greens. We'll have to get more collard greens and see if it was not a fluke. But she just chowed down on those collard greens. She really liked them. But
She's probably the pickiest goat that we have, like food wise. But she loves bamboo. Like she does love a lot some greens.
Strawberries.
Like, bamboo's like her jam.
She
Yeah,
won't
for
touch
sure.
anything leafy
But
green.
yeah,
It's
she's
hilarious.
very particular.
So almost every time I go in there, I offer her the greens, and she's just like really no. So that's kind of like a funny thing. That's why I said we're gonna cover everything that goes on here, the ups, the downs, the in betweens, and everything, because it's a funny thing to us that she ate something green. It was a big deal to us.
It's like your kid who never has eaten a vegetable and they finally do. You're like,
yeah. So we have 2 sulcata tortoises here on the property, and this whole area here gets flooded different times a year, like twice a month or once a month or whatever. It's called flood irrigation. There's a big canal that runs behind the property, and then Michelle has to come out and open the floodgates literally, and this whole property gets flooded, and that's how they irrigate the land here and like the grass groves and everything. So this back fence behind us, the yard, her backyard is back there, and that's where the tortoises live. So there's all these barriers, bricks and wood and all this stuff to keep the tortoises from coming
Plus
into
the heavy duty chain link fence.
and a heavy duty chain link fence that they have busted out of. And I guess she got through again back in October. So she was, and the tortoises are funny because when they want to cruise, like they can move. Everybody thinks they're super slow, but they're not really super slow. So yeah, that was a funny thing that happened back in October. She somehow got through the bricks and the wood and got through the chain link fence and got out into the pasture and to play in the water in the pasture. That was pretty funny.
And all of the buddies that they want to make, it's like they end up with the cows. And Nala and like Norma are like,
they're like
is
backing
this?
away, like, what is this thing? And the tortoises are so big. Like when they first came here, I could kind of pick them up and carry them around. But I've come in the morning and found them way out here in the back, and I tell my husband, like, you go get a wagon and get them out of here. I guess one of our turkeys went missing in October, and then you found her out back in the canal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, we didn't know where she was, and we figured she was hiding on a nest somewhere, and or we thought, she could have even been killed by a predator. So we were walking the canal, and we see some feathers, like, okay, no, those aren't turkey feathers, okay. And then we keep walking, and they're like, no, she's not back there. I was like, well, let's try one more time, because she's like, I think I see something that's way down there. I was like, okay, well, I'll go with you. And we look, and just like her little head's poking out. It's so overgrown, so you can't really see her. So I was trying to get her out, but I wasn't being mean enough. Not that we were trying to be mean, but we had to Michelle had to really jumble her out of the bush with a rake. Cause I'm like poking, and she's like hissing at me, like, leave me alone, I want to stay here. And so Michelle was able to get her to come out.
Well, when we have a turkey that kind of disappears, and there's like certain places we know to look, and that was not one of them. So, once we looked at all the common, you guys did, the common places, we're like, oh no, where'd she go? But then they just came across her in the canal. So then we knew, she went missing again, and keep an eye on that area. But that all, she came back eventually. Okay. So October 15th was the big vet visit when, the doctor, our vet is amazing. I always ask Michelle to book the vet visits on my day so I can kind of follow her around and assist too, because I have to shuffle the animals around and everything. But I just love her, and I like to watch her work. And so she came for the routine hoof trims and this and that and the other. And so Willow, one of our little pygmy goats, she's over there chilling. It was discovered that she has skin cancer. And she had a little mass on her rectum, like on her bum. And apparently she's a light colored goat, and I guess that's common, which I didn't know, fairly common in these light skinned goats, light colored goats. So that was an unfortunate diagnosis, but she's doing really well right now. And again, there was a lot of stuff going on with all the other animals. It was recommended that new medicines, new supplements, that like, why are all these animals looking so thin? Why are they all not looking like they're supposed to? And again, we were like, is it the summer? Like, is it the heat? Because we're into October, and we were still breaking records in October. Like, I think we had days over 110 in October, which is completely
It was a really
unreal. Yeah.
summer.
It was a very long lasting summer.
Was that hot in Halloween? I remember.
Yeah. Yep.
Super hot.
And then Chico has like a kind of this lump on his side, and it's been checked time and time again. But it seems like it's getting bigger. And I think that I think it was called like an aspiration or something, but
Needle aspiration.
did it turn out to be anything?
I don't.
I
think
guess
so.
I know.
Just like a fatty tumor.
It's
fatty
hard with
tumor.
needle aspirations too, because they're not always like definitive of a diagnosis. So sometimes it could just be like,
Yeah, we've had it checked several times,
Yeah.
but this particular time the vet said, "Oh, that does look bigger. Like, let's double check it." But I guess nothing came out of that. We were, unfortunately, like Chico's my other favorite, and but we're kind of more wrapped up in the Willow having skin cancer thing, because that was a for sure thing.
hers is aggressive.
So that was interesting. But then we have so I had to do a whole new feeding plan, supplement plan, whatever. And And then the big news that happened in October is the chickens were finally released from Cluckingham Palace. So that we did that transfer from May, June, July, August, September for 6 months. Every single day. Every single day I had to transfer 14 chickens back and forth from their overnight coops to the daytime air conditioned coop. So Suerte knocked his horn off. Suerte is our black belly Barbados sheep, and he still has both of his horns. His mother does not, but we didn't do that. She came that way. So a while ago, maybe like 6-9 months ago, we had a group here, a volunteer group here. And after the group kind of finished out here and went out in the yard, I noticed Suerte had his like a little bloody stump there, and his horn was gone. And it was fine like minutes before. I scoured everywhere looking for the horn. Well, that was a while ago. And we kept it, sprayed and cleaned and everything, and it healed over. And then this time was the second horn. And he knocked the whole thing off again. So the vet had to come and cauterize it and give him pain meds or whatever. So he's fine now. And then the good outcome is now his horns are even again. Because he had they look kind of the same again. He had this kind of like busted looking horn, and now they're kind of even again. Okay, so Johnny's walking around with an empty crate.
Like he's being a big tease right now.
Johnny's walking around with an empty crate. Okay, so this is when Giuseppe started with his bumblefoot. And bumblefoot, maybe one of you guys can explain exactly what it is a little bit better than me.
I mean, it's kind of like a systematic, like staph infection, if you will, where it starts out as like they start favoring one of their foots, and it looks like to the human eye a callus, but it grows inward. And it's kind of like when you actually dissect it, it's like this coil factor. But the problem is that it impacts them systematically. And so it can kill them eventually, like goes into like first it starts in the joint, and then it goes to the blood. And then they can start to like molt and not want to eat and failure to thrive. So it's something that kind of needs to be addressed, which, as you can imagine, is not the easiest thing to give a rooster a pedicure. So
well, I think it was every other day we would have to, he was cooped, we kept him cooped, so we would get him out of the coop, bring him in the house, unwrap the bandaging, soak him, hold him in the sink in an Epsom salt bath
like
for about
30
15 minutes. Oh,
sometimes.
I was 15 minutes. Dry it off, apply medicine, and put the bandage back on and put him back in the coop. And we did this for, I think, 4 or 6 weeks or something, because
it was like 8 weeks.
it was suspected he had a bumble in each foot. We could only treat one at a time because we would be walking around on 2 bandages. And that was fun. October 30th, Willow got her skin cancer frozen off. And the vet came back to get that skin cancer frozen off. Norma had something going on with her udder, one of her teats on her udder. I don't know. It doesn't seem like that's something that's super, like.
Well, it had been
Dangerous.
full for a long time, and it was like not a big deal, but then it started to get
So
red.
Doesn't look
when it wasn't even that one. Like, so she has, a few teats on her udder, and one of the teats had some milk in it for a while. It had been kind of full. So we had kind of been checking it to make sure that wasn't infected or she wasn't getting mastitis or anything like that. It was just hormonal fluctuations caused her to have a little milk in one of her teeth. And we realized this one Saturday, it's been a few weeks or a week or two since we've checked. Like, let me try to feel. I go down. That teat is fine, but her other teat was like, had all these flies on it, and I shooed them. They were like these little flies, and it was like little sores, almost looked like tiny scabs all over that had been picked off.
And I think she has herpes, right?
Yeah, it was some sort of herpes that actually found out. So we had to treat that. We were trying to put iodine spray on it. We were covering it, and we didn't want the flies to get in there. It was.
I think the treatment was like iodine spray and fly spray,
And
which
fly
she hates being sprayed. So trying to chase a cow around a small stall with a spray bottle was good times. And then Chico, that was the day that she checked Chico's swamp. So does anybody remember when Lady B was found? Because I think you found Lady B, the turkey.
Yeah.
Do you remember when that happened? Oh, did you find Zoe
So
or
a few
Lady?
weeks ago.
No,
I
that was
can't
Zoe.
recall exactly when it was, but it was definitely a Monday.
Oh, that was
I
Zoe.
went to go check,
So we could-
instead of
Okay.
going right out to feed the alley cats, I went to look at the bowls to see if there's an extra bowl there. And I walked right past her, didn't notice her. And when I was coming back, Teresa was standing right above her, covering her by her cover, and noticed her.
And also Lady B, the other turkey was found. Oh, who found her?
I think Michelle.
She passed away. Two of our turkeys.
Michelle, I
Red
think,
Mary.
at night.
It's like the same
Oh.
week, wasn't it?
No,
No.
it was a while apart.
For some reason, I thought it
I
was
think
night.
Lady B passed away back in October. Just somebody came on the property and she was just found passed away. So there was no like signs or anything. So that was
She
one of,
wasn't super old either.
No.
I mean, she had had a good life, you know, it was probably like 5 or 6, maybe,
yeah, she just,
but that's not super old. It was unexpected.
Tony,
Zoe was
sir.
more expected,
Sir.
but yeah.
sorry, we don't mean to laugh, but Merman just licked the camera. So you got an extreme close up of. Oh, so let's move on to November then. So yeah, we lost Lady B in October. I have the Zoe. So that was November 11th. So Lady B was found deceased in October. That was one of our turkeys. And then Zoe was the old turkey. She was found passed away, and that was
So that's a lot.
Johnny and Teresa found. Zoe passed away on November 11th. And again, well, I think she was kind of starting to show a little bit of signs of slowing down because then all of a sudden it was cold. And I would find her, she would just gravitate like to the little sunbeams that she could find in the morning. And for a couple of days, I noticed that. I said, oh, poor thing. She was just getting old bones. And then she just passed away.
We had actually just did a live stream like the Sunday before she passed away. And there was somebody on the live stream that joined in, and she was a very accomplished nurse, not with animals, but with humans. So Talia and I were doing a live stream, and they were getting into like some medical stuff, and we were talking about Bumble and this and that. And we were talking about how Zoe's really old, and she was like in the bushes at the time, and I'd been trying to sneak her cob, to try to like warm her up from the inside out kind of a thing. And I think the woman, I can't remember her name, but that had been tuning in, she was like, animals know when it's their time. And I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
that's true, and then it was like literally, I think it was the next day.
Mhm,
You
it
found her
was.
on Monday. So I do live streams on Sunday.
Because I just thought it was so cool that we got so much footage of her right
Yeah.
before she passed.
Yeah, because I was here on probably the Thursday before. And like I said, there's like a little spot of sun under the bamboo. And then the sun moves over to the other side. And then she would be over there. Wherever the sun went, she kind of was following it. That was kind of like an end of an era too, because she's the mom to all these, right?
Yeah, she was the one of the OG turkey.
Yeah,
They all started from 1 male and 2 females, and she was the last one.
yeah, the OGs. So the 3 remaining are all her children, Fernando, and then the 2 girls.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible that was the
What about,
other
Zelia?
moms.
Oh, okay.
We're not sure because it could have been either mom. They both had eggs, they both had chicks, and they kind of all just took care of them communally. So I
Oh,
don't know 100%,
I
but
gotcha. Well, what was another notable thing that happened around the same time? So let's see. About a year ago, or up until, let me think, last year not this year, but not 2024, but 2023, we did a live stream on Thanksgiving. We had 5 turkeys. We had Fernando, Zoe, Azalea, Lady A, and Lady B. And then, but at the time, like Azalea disappears. Like she goes down the street to the neighbor's house, but then she comes back. And so on Thanksgiving Day in 2023, she was missing, and she was staying in a bush in the front yard. So we brought her back. She looked rough. She was all dirty and skinny or whatever. And she kind of came back to her flock and got healthier looking, whatever. But then she took off again. So we had 4 turkeys for a while. Like she just never came back. I think she came back randomly one day. And I was like, oh my God, there's 5 turkeys again. And then my husband actually followed her. She left and he followed her down the street. So he knew where she went. But she was gone for like months and months and months. And I'm like, I don't think she's passed away, but she just didn't come home. So we had 4 turkeys for a really long time. And then Lady B passed away, and then Zoe passed away. So we're down to 2 turkeys. Well, wouldn't you know, shortly after that, come back and here's Azalea. It's almost like she sensed like something was wrong. And she's been back. She's been back
staying.
since mid-November, and she's staying. So I don't know what that was all about. But so now we back up to 3 turkeys. Giuseppe was freed from his bumblefoot treatment and containment on November 3rd. So that was a big day for him. I'm sure it was probably a big day for us because it was like, because it was, it was a little extra work for us to grab him. And then, oh boy, one of the big notable things that happened in November was the current strain of the avian flu, the bird flu, struck in the county that the sanctuary is in, Maricopa County, Arizona. Horrible, like how I found out about it was there's another sanctuary here in town and they were losing birds, and it was discovered that it was to bird flu, and the Department of Agriculture literally went to their property and like euthanized all their birds, whether they were sick or not, which to me seems a little, I don't know, extreme. So this poor woman who's running a sanctuary and all these birds that were rescued, and they had all types of birds. They had like turkeys and ducks and guinea hens and like, do they have like pheasants or something? They have like a lot of different types. They had like over 100 birds. We have probably, in total 20 birds here. This woman had, and like I said, they're all rescue animals. They're all living their life in sanctuary. They had names, they had stories, they had friends, they had families, and just to see their whole flock just decimated in one fell swoop as a rescuer, I can't even like fathom that. So of course we went on to like, what are we gonna do? Like this bird flu is now in our county, and we're doing the best we can. Like there's not a whole lot we can do because we can't keep every wild bird out of here. It's like we can sanitize our shoes, we can pick up extra food, we can, try to sweep away extra bird droppings or clean extra bird droppings away. But at the end of the day, we can't prevent every wild bird in the world from coming into this yard. So that happened. We went into overdrive. There's a zoo not too far from here that lost, I think, 5 animals that weren't just birds. Like they lost like the tiger has it. He's recovered, but there was like a big cat, some type of a big cat, and like all these different that weren't even like birds that they lost. And there was also a poultry farm that had workers get the bird flu, which is, from what I understand, is like not super dangerous for humans to get. So
it can be that.
it can be, but that would be like elderly or
if you have a
children. Yeah.
And the people that had
Yeah.
had it badly, sorry to interrupt. I watched this thing about it.
Okay, good.
The people that do get it badly and it's dangerous, it's not like you just catch it. It's like they were surrounded by it. Like this guy hadn't removed the dead birds from his property. So it's just literally like festering. The germs, the bacteria, the virus is just everywhere. And there wasn't proper disposal methods used. So like if you catch bird flu, it's not a big deal. But if you're like, it's a viral load, right? So if you're like just inundated with it, and then maybe you are older or overweight or like unhealthy and like that super high viral load, then it can be dangerous. Like you're not going to pass away from it. It's not fatal to humans, but nobody wants to.
Just like anything, people die from the flu if you're not healthy.
Yeah, so it got scary, but like I said, we're just kind of just doing the best we can to mitigate. From what I've read is it kind of comes in, it does its thing and moves on. I haven't heard it too much, but I'm hearing stories from other states. So it is spreading. I think, maybe right now we're kind of just under control. I don't know. But that was like horrible. Like I woke up on the day after Thanksgiving to that news. And like I said, we just went, oh my God, what are we going to do? And we're doing, like I said, a few little things to try to mitigate it. But we can't, like I said, we can't prevent wild birds from coming in here. So we just do the best we can.
I do want to add too that the wonderful sanctuary that had this happen to them, they actually they have a different setup than us. So they were even more protected than we are. They had the predator proof netting. They had like nets that went across. So like no wild birds could even get onto their property, but all it took was one wild bird to go poop. Drop through that net. That's it.
Yep. And the other thing is, I guess waterfowl can carry it and not show any signs or anything. Yeah. And I don't know if but like we do keep our ducks separate from all the other birds. So I don't know if that maybe be a little blessing in disguise. I don't know. But like I said, again, we just do the best we can. So let's move on to December. December was, oh, I guess Suerte injured the horn again, but this time, a third time. But that turned out to be, yeah, it turned out to be,
over there.
what happens? Anybody know with that?
Are you talking about the time to Vic? That's his problem.
No, this is a third, like,
This was just
he knocked the
when-
horn off, but then I guess he injured it again this month, just this month in September.
Playing
Probably.
It was just a little bit, but also Elliot and I were like, oh, like that's cute. I think it was with Chicolette. We're like, wow, I've never seen them play. They're like all roughhousing. It might have been Will. I don't know. It was just, we're like, oh, look, it's so cute. They're headbutting and tussling. And then a couple minutes later, Elliot's like, oh no, he's all bloody. Like it's not cute anymore. Like he's got blood.
know.
But it was just
Maybe
his
that'll
horn.
slow down now that he has his girlfriend back.
Maybe.
We talked about.
I'm gonna, we'll get to that. I do want to back up for a moment into November. I kind of skipped over, we held our fall edition bingo fundraiser November, and I don't know, if you guys remember, but there was a lot of hurricanes on the other side of the country. And Michelle made the decision to donate all of our entry fees from that fundraiser to hurricane relief efforts for other sanctuaries on the other side of the country. So that was really cool. I think you were able to donate like 500, right? Yeah. And we still got to make a little bit of money too. But it's just kind of like seeing sanctuaries go through that. Like we don't have we have heat. But other than that, we don't have tornadoes. We don't have hurricanes. Like we don't have really any natural disasters here, except it's just hot. So I can't even imagine like trying to lock everybody down and just wait out a hurricane and then going out to survey the damage and just hope everybody's still alive. Like I can't even fathom that. So it was really cool that we were able to send them some money to help out with that. So yeah, so we're back to December. Suerte injured his horn. It was bloody, but these guys play, and there's not a lot we can't stop him from doing it. I guess he's fine now. Esperanza and Suerte's rescueversary was in December. So Suerte's mother is Esperanza, and they were both rescued from a very horrific situation. It's got to be 4.
It was 4 years. No, it's 5 because Chicolette's 4, isn't she?
Chicolette will be 3.
No, I think it's 4 because it was
Okay.
right when I started coming here.
Okay.
Because I remember Tess had them and everything. Yeah, so 4 years ago, this past December,
It was like
Esperanza came. Yeah,
Christmas Eve.
Yeah, Christmas Eve, Esperanza and her little baby boy came, and now he's a big boy with a girlfriend and everything. And then one nice thing that happened. So if you guys want to stick around, if you're watching and you want to stick around when we're done here, which is going to be just in another minute or two, we're going to take the camera, we're going to go around the front of the yard, and we're going to toss a Christmas tree out for the animals to
Demolish.
nibble on. And it's actually a really fun thing to watch, especially because the 2 cows have been in stalls this whole time, and they keep seeing visitors arrive, and they're gonna be so ready for a treat. And Nala gets really crazy with her horns, and she'll toss the Christmas tree into the air with her horns and everything. Nala the cow. So if you want to stick around and watch that, it's actually a really funny thing to see. And we did already get some early Christmas tree donations, I think, from Whitfield's, right?
Yeah,
Whitfield's Nursery.
And we're getting 15 from City of Gilbert.
Cool. All right. Yeah, we've already had, how many do you think they've had already? Like
About 7.
7 trees. They love them. It's good for their digestion. They just love to nibble. They eat everything. They eat the
Bark.
needles, they eat the bark, and they just strip it down to nothing. It's just a stick, and we take it out.
And Nicholas uses it for firewood.
And then it gets reused for firewood. So we use the whole thing. And then the town, because here in, where we live in Maricopa County, the cities will have like a drop area. So like if you had a live Christmas tree in your house, you can go drop it in this area. So the town of Gilbert, which is the town that or City of Gilbert, I don't know, is it city or town, will bring us probably 15 this year?
15.
Bring us 15 Christmas trees. They'll just drop them off, and then the animals can nibble on those for a while. They love it for a treat, and it's really good for them. And when we're in full Christmas tree season, Thomas, come here.
Thomas, come here.
The animals all smell really pretty too.
Makes their breath.
Oh,
nice
yes.
and fresh.
It's very Christmassy.
Yeah. So the good news is that's it. That's all we have for the year of 2024. It's been a ride. Every year is a ride, and but we love doing what we do. And boy, you've got a big. Okay, Thomas.
Thomas is about to knock it over.
A big portion of the gang here. you know, we're friends, we're family, we're volunteers, and we all love each other just as much as we love these animals. And, you know, if you've tuned in today or any day for that matter, we thank you. So yeah, again, if you watched us, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary with Johnny, Courtney, Melissa, Talia, and Michelle, and Thomas. We're gonna pause for a moment. We'll take the camera out if anybody wants to stick around and watch the Christmas tree toss. Thank you for watching and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
How's it go?
All right, we're gonna take this out. Who wants to let the cows and Rapunzel out? Oh, I can do that. So we're gonna have to let I'm gonna turn the camera around so we can
Showing your teeth.
I'm gonna let Michelle Norma Jean and Nala, who have been so patiently waiting. Aw, there's Thomas, the little culprit that was nudging at my camera.
Right now.
Hi, are you showing your teethers? Oh, you're the cutest boy. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Okay, so we're gonna let are you guys ready for the tree?
Yeah,
Okay.
tell Mark to,
I'm gonna let once you guys are out, I'll leave these guys out. So I can I want to film it. Okay, go ahead. Maybe she'll go crazy because she's expecting a treat. Go, Nala, go. So we gotta let the girls out first. They've been so patiently waiting for us to. Oh wait, no, I want to. No, well, no. Hold on. No, thank you. Come on, guys, let's go. Go, Nala, go. Okay. All right, so we're gonna let Nala and Norma Jean the cows out first. Hi. No, I don't have anything for you. Come on. Norma, no. All right, Punzi's out. Everybody is free. And we're gonna come around the front and let you guys watch the throwing of the Christmas tree. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary. We've just completed our year-end live stream. And so we just completed our 2024 year review live stream. I'm going to walk around to the front of the property and we're going to toss a live Christmas tree to the critters. We get loads and loads of Christmas trees delivered at this time of year or donated. And they love it. It's a really good, healthy treat for them. But you got to see this because hopefully Nala will do her thing. Okay, whenever I'm ready. We're ready.
In the flesh.
All right. All right, we're ready. Oh, here we go. Ready for the Christmas tree toss.
You're healthy. You breathe.
At least somebody is, because I didn't.
Day of young kid.
Johnny, you want to help him or somebody? Oh, Nala's ready.
She did.
Christmas tree toss. Help him, Nala. Nala's already. Oh my goodness.
God.
Look at this guy.
Get it, Nala, get it. Whoa.
She probably throw it over if she could. I mean,
She almost did last year. So there you have it, folks. Christmas tree treat.
Oh my God, no.
So if you're just tuning in, I'm Karen from Goats with Horns Animal Sanctuary on Real-Time Animal Rescue. And we just finished our 2024 year in review, and we just tossed a nice Christmas tree out for the animals to play with and nibble on. And Nala gets her horns in there and gets all crazy. Oh, God. Go! Alrighty, with that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you for watching. Happy New Year, everybody. And looking forward to bringing you some good stuff in 2025. Thanks for tuning in.